Lesson 10. My thoughts do not mean anything. This idea applies to all the thoughts of which you are aware or become aware in the practice periods. The reason the idea is applicable to all of them is that they are not your real thoughts. We have made this distinction before and will do so again. You have no basis for comparison as yet. When you do, you will have no doubt that what you once believed were your thoughts did not mean anything. This is the second time we have used this kind of idea. The form is only slightly different. This time, the idea is introduced with my thoughts instead of these thoughts, and no link is made overtly with the things around you. The emphasis is now on the lack of reality of what you think you think. The emphasis is now on the lack of reality of what you think you think. This aspect of the correction process began with the idea that the thoughts of which you are aware are meaningless, outside rather than within, and then stressed their past rather than their present status. Now we are emphasizing that the presence of these thoughts means that you are not thinking. This is merely another way of repeating our earlier statement that your mind is really a blank. To recognize this is to recognize nothingness when you think you see it. As such, it is the prerequisite for vision. Close your eyes for these exercises and introduce them by repeating the idea for today quite slowly to yourself. My thoughts do not mean anything. Then add, this idea will help to release me from all that I now believe. The exercises consist, as before, in searching your mind for all the thoughts that are available to you without selection or judgment. Try to avoid classification of any kind. In fact, if you find it helpful to do so, you might imagine that you're watching an oddly assorted procession going by, which has little, if any, personal meaning to you. As each one crosses your mind, say, my thoughts about does not mean anything. My thought about does not mean anything. Today's thought can obviously serve for any thought and distresses. Today's thought can obviously serve for any thought that distresses you at any time. In addition, 5 practice periods are recommended, each involving no more than a minute or so of mind searching. It's not recommended that this time period be extended, and it should be reduced to half a minute or less if you experience discomfort. Remember, however, to repeat the idea slowly before applying it specifically. And also to add, this idea will help to release me from all that I now believe. This idea will help to release me from all that I now believe. My thoughts do not mean anything. So just take a moment and watch this oddly assorted procession of thoughts. And when you've done it, you can allow your mind to just sink into meditation. Well, it seems to be hardcore mind training around looking at thoughts these days. Really strong emphasis to really let go of believing the thoughts. Just to really, let go, yeah. And if it's hard, just say, what if? What if these thoughts don't mean anything? If that feels easier than saying, these thoughts don't mean anything. Start with, oh, what if? My worries don't mean anything. What if they're unfounded and not true? Then when you forget, when you start to believe they're real again, and you realize you forgot, you just, all right, I just forgot that they didn't mean anything. I let go. Because you did MMT, it was the same topic.
Yeah. Yeah, and we stayed on that area, of the power of thoughts. We felt just to stay on it.
Yeah.
So important, yeah. It's the way out, really.
Yeah.
It's the only way out.
Yeah.
If you don't change your thoughts, nothing will change.
No, because they're so powerful.
Yeah.
The mind is so powerful, and if we give the mind over to meaningless thoughts, to fearful beliefs, we seem to be stuck in it. So it is the only way. It's very supported though, when there is the willingness to do it. The Holy Spirit is very helpful, coming in with reminders, and supporting the direction. Was there something in particular that stood out in the session yesterday?
There was several quotes from the course that really resonated with all of us. Nothing was coming to mind at the moment, but anyone else?
It was the one that we hear a lot, we're far too tolerant of mind wandering.
Yeah.
The second half of that sentence is, we're mildly passively condoning
your mind's miscreations.
miscreations. Like
Yeah, would you want to?
yeah, that passive condoning is kind of like what's happening all the time in the back, all the time, if we don't pull the thoughts out and say, okay, these are meaningless, or be willing to see that it's just there constantly. So that was big.
I think he asked, would you condone ego thinking if you knew that you were doing it, like if you were aware? So awareness is key. Oh, it's so good. It's a massive call to watch the thoughts, watch the mind.
Is that why guidance then is so important? Because I don't know, I think I'm just starting to see something bigger than I had seen before about the thoughts. It's really sinking in, that none of my thoughts mean anything. unless I'm like in my right mind, and then I can trust the communication.
Yeah, when you let the Holy Spirit direct your thoughts and align, like when you align your mind with God, yeah, then you think true thoughts or happy thoughts, which is more like an experience.
I imagine, though, then your mind will be very quiet, but you will have happy thoughts as well, but mostly quiet, I imagine.
Yeah.
You know, still.
Yeah.
And just being guided then when to act, what to say, what to do.
Yeah.
Because most of my thoughts are about figuring out what to do about things.
Mm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
what to do next,
Mm-hmm.
what needs to be done.
Yeah. And that's all a preoccupation with the future.
Yeah. I think I have a belief that when I'm at home, I know best what needs to be done. Especially, you know, in my house, with everything.
Mm.
You know. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why you want to give everything over to Spirit, to practice that you don't know, because it is a preoccupation to avoid a deeper experience, to even think about what to do in your house or during a day, or it's to keep you away from Spirit, from a deeper experience, because it doesn't really matter very much in the form of things, you know, how you arrange the form. That is the preoccupation. It's based in fear. But it will kind of fall into place beautifully when the mind is in alignment, because there is a bigger picture, there is a bigger orchestration that is underneath the world of perception. It's a miracle, it's a flow where the world of form will be perceived as just supporting the mind rather than being the preoccupation of the mind.
For me, I like that what the Course says, that my thoughts are images that I have made. So, for example, if I have a belief that I'm sick or unwelcome, it's not enough for me to just say, oh, I have that thought now. But if I can really get into silence and see the image that I have, the self-concept, and see that of myself, then it feels like, okay, now I can start to. That's what helped me.
Yeah, that's another lesson. Thoughts are images I have made. And he mentioned that in this lesson too, that in the earlier lessons was said that my thoughts are like the things I see, you know, and that your thoughts are outside, or these things are outside, you know, of you. So yeah, it helps to go within and see the images and the self-concept. I think Jesus says the ego is like a wild child without a parent. So it will just run crazy, you know, and how can that be trustworthy? It can't be trustworthy. So we need this mind training, this just a little bit of time to go within. That's why it is like a mystical life, or mysticism is to go within, see that it's all your mind. There is nobody outside. You need to give yourself space just to get in touch with that experience of it's all your mind.
So this morning I felt, when I got up the night, I just felt very alone. And I'm feeling that now really strongly. I haven't felt like this for quite a long time. Used to have it a lot. And when we were meditating, there was a moment, I think that's what happened, I just dropped down, let go. And then I just had a lot of fear. Yes, I just woke up with a really strong feeling, and I just stayed with it for quite a long time. I think a lot of this stuff's bubbled up, something like that. Yeah, there's a lot of guilt and fear of consequences, I guess.
Mm.
That feels better just saying that.
Mm.
Suddenly something's shifted a bit.
Mm. Mm. Thank you. It feels like just reaching out, just sharing what's happening for you is like a reaching out. It's like
Right.
taking your hand and
Could be.
yeah.
Well, yeah, it feels.
Yeah, the word faith comes to mind. I think we read recently about faith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of doubt at one point in the night. Yeah, reaching out. That sounds good, but it feels scary if that's the case, that's for sure.
Yeah, it says have trust even in bewilderment.
Bewilderment's a good word.
Even in bewilderment.
It's such a good word.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that as a Canva quote. Trust even in bewilderment.
Yeah.
That feels pretty spot on. Yeah. Fuck, it's true. What's happening?
I think I would like to express something too.
Bewilderness. Wilderness. Lost in the wilderness.
I just experienced this. I had 3 conversations, most of them practical things from yesterday evening. And in my opinion, all 3, at least the first 2 of them, ended bad. And I was confused and frightened. And the last one I actually was able to say, no, I don't want to talk anymore about this. And then I just felt so disconnected. I felt like it was difficult for me to stay there. And it felt difficult. And during the night, Peter reached out because I was scratching a lot.
What do you
I
think?
could just feel it was so difficult to receive. I was just, this really hard place in me. This is like this nut.
Mm. Yeah, I was going to ask you, why do you think you felt bad after you ended the conversation? Because that sounds like you felt okay. You didn't feel to talk more about whatever you were talking about. What would make you feel bad after doing that? Because it sounds like you follow your heart.
I had a feeling probably that just felt like Peter, that I pushed him away.
Okay, important.
What?
Important point here. This is your thought.
Yes.
So you took action, and then because this is what just came to me, this like empath thing needs to be undone. You can't, go in and feel bad based on how you think others feel,
Yeah, I guess I interpreted what he did after, like taking headphones on, sitting with his iPad, and as...
Yeah, I think it's, you guys are in the middle of this, specialness where guilt gets projected outside all the time. The other one should feel guilty, and it kind of jumps in between you. And that's this trick of the ego, but it will kind of happen in a relationship, but that's where you're going to learn to wash that, to see that desire to make the other one feel guilty, And
well, I feel guilty, but yeah, I can see I wanted it to be.
When you see it, the quicker you can stop it, the better. The quicker you can actually have some sort of joining, reach out, And if the other one reaches out, to receive it in some way, to be open to it.
Yeah.
But to really watch that guilting, It comes from you feeling guilty.
Yeah.
But the ego wants it to rest on the other one. So, and this is the time to trust spirit. Trust that the miracle of joining can happen, with your willingness, your desire to join, your desire to let go of fear. And also to remember it's about your relationship with the Holy Spirit. The relationship you share is there as a support, but also to always remember your own relationship with the Holy Spirit.
I had this amazing call with my son yesterday. Where I suddenly realized I was afraid of committing to him coming here. What if there's no flights, or what if something come up and it's difficult that it can't be made, and then he was just like, if it's too difficult, then it's just because it's not supposed to happen. And he said something about if that's more like if computers thing, if it's too
forced.
If it's forced, then it's not it. You know, then it does. Then it's because it's the wrong thing. And it's like, wow, thank you. That lifted up a lot. Could feel that. No pattern with him. But if I say something, I have to.
That's good. He's not putting the responsibility on you.
No.
That's good. Yeah. It's good that you can let go.
That was kind of amazing.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
I just want to say I don't remember feeling hurt or angry at that point. I'm searching my mind. I can't remember what happened. So just saying. Yeah.
Good one. Then that helps. You see, it's just your mind, and it's always just your mind. Yeah.